Emergency episode number 27. Stunning news by ESPN's Pete Thamel on the early negotiations starting with the Big 12 from their current media partners, Fox and ESPN. Welcome to College Football's Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Pflugar. This was news I was not expecting at all, and it is very bad news for the PAC conference. Extremely bad news for the PAC conference. As you know, the PAC conference is in negotiations right now with their current media partners, Fox and ESPN. Really, it's just ESPN. Fox has there's been no reports that Fox has any interest in the Tier 1, Tier 2 content of the PAC conference. So basically, it's just ESPN dealing with the PAC. And now, the one advantage that the PAC conference had over the Big 12 was the timing that PAC was able to negotiate first. That has been negated, washed away, because Big 12 asked and apparently received for that timetable to be bumped up way up until it's starting right now. It's imminent, according to Pete Thamel, that the Big 12 can start negotiations with Fox and ESPN, not just receiving projections of what Big 12 thinks they're going to make starting after 2025, but actual numbers. Actual numbers if the Big 12 would choose to look at options in expanding their conference, potentially with Pac-12 schools. All the advantages the Pac-12 had over the Big 12 is gone, finished. More bad news for the Pac. Let's quickly read the article that Pete Thamel just came out this morning from ESPN. Let's get right to it. Pete Thamel. Fox and ESPN have agreed to engage in discussions with the Big 12 about the league's next television contract, sources told ESPN. The imminent opening of these conversations is significant as they come more than a year and a half before the league's television contract calls for a formal exclusive negotiating window with both current partners. This development allows the Big 12, which has a contract through the 2024 season, to potentially get tangible future revenue numbers for both of its member schools and potential additions. The conversation could lead to contract negotiations on an extension, which would be a distinct advantage for the Big 12 as it navigates this uncertain moment in college sports. There is no formal window on these conversations between the Big 12 and ESPN and Fox, which are expected to begin soon. If no deal is reached, the conference can still secure a deal through a more traditional timeline. In other words, they're going to get in this window. They're going to negotiate. Fox and ESPN has moved up the timetable. If Big 12 doesn't get the numbers they like, they can go back to the traditional timeline of a year and a half from now and start negotiations again with their current media partners, Fox and ESPN. Yormark is doing what he should be doing, trying to gain an advantage, an industry source told ESPN. If the Big 12 talks with ESPN and Fox turn in negotiations, it would likely be for a short-term extension that gives the league clarity after the current deals expires following the 2024 academic year. The willingness of the Big 12's television partners to come to the table could mitigate one big advantage the Pac-12 has in its conference television landscape. At Pac-12 Media Days, Commissioner George Kliavkoff said that the league was in an inevitable position of being next to market after the Big Ten. That advantage that George Kliavkoff had the PAC conference is now gone. They had the advantage. They could actually get real numbers from ESPN because it seems like Fox isn't playing. Real numbers, get those schools, the PAC to sign on the dotted line. Potentially, I never thought it was realistic, potentially grab additions from the Big 12, what have you. That advantage that the PAC had over the Big 12 is gone. This is huge news for the Big 12. Like I said in the title, Yormark, the Big 12 commissioner, just hit an inside straight on the river. Okay? Fantastic day for the Big 12. The article goes on to say, prior to the Big Ten planning talks, the Big 12's advantage in the television landscape had been that the conference could give tangible numbers to its member schools and any potential additions. With the Big 12 having 3 years remaining on steel, the prevailing thought had been that the conference could give only projected numbers, which would present a risk for any school considering joining the league. In other words, how could Big 12 add on PAC schools, right? When the only thing Yormark could do for the Pac-12 schools, such as Arizona, Arizona State, Colorado, Utah, was give projections. But now Yormark will be able to give real numbers to potential add-ons to the Big 12. I'm going to skip a little bit here. Yormark comments about the Big 12 being open for business at Media Days were received coldly by Kliavkoff. At Pac-12 Media Days, Kliavkoff fired back. With respect to the Big 12 being open for business, I appreciate that. We haven't decided if we're shopping there or not yet. Yormark later expanded on his open for business comments, telling the Lubbock Avalanche Journal, it means that this conference is no longer going to be stagnant. Boy, we just got more proof of that. Yormark is not stagnant. He is very proactive. We're going to be very proactive, he says. We're going to explore and identify any and all opportunities that create value in every respect. Is expansion part of open for business? 100%, but it's only a small piece. Okay, look, here's my first thought about this breaking news. The PAC conference is in trouble. Look what Fox Sports is doing. They're not even in talks with the PAC. They're not in talks with Kliavkoff. But yet they just approved the timetable for Big 12 negotiations to be moved up a year and a half. Boy, that is bad news for Kliavkoff. I mean, I don't know how you generate the numbers you want as a Pac-12 commissioner for your schools for the new contract when you've only got one of your current partners in the game, ESPN. And now ESPN and Fox both agree to move up the timetable with the Big 12. Incredibly bad news. I don't see how this ends well for the PAC. I know I went over the article yesterday from a writer out there in Oregon who put a pretty positive spin on what's going on with the PAC, what they're going to be able to do, how they're going to be able to expand. Big 12 hunting was part of his article. I don't see how any of that is valid. Didn't see it then. Definitely do not see it this morning, Wednesday morning, one day before week 1 college football starts. Yormark has been very proactive, and he got this done. Just, again, ponder what Fox is doing right now, Fox Sports. They just helped the Big Ten take UCLA and USC and expanded, right? Big Ten expanded. We know that Oregon talked with the Big Ten in Chicago. We are taking that very seriously. We also have been reporting information that Washington, Oregon, and Stanford have been targets for the Big Ten. See if the numbers can work to expand the Big Ten out, not have UCLA, USC alone on an island. We know that the Pac-12 has been talking to their current media partners, right? But only one has come to the table, ESPN. And now the timetable on Big 12 negotiations with their current media partners have moved up a year and a half. Incredible news. We had to do this episode, emergency episode, number 27. I think you're going to see a lot of fallout of this, more reporting. Big 12 just got a big boost. Arizona State, Arizona, Colorado, Utah are going to start to see real numbers. Compare that to the PAC numbers. Wow, big news. Again, put your comments down in the comments section below the video. I do read all the comments. Please hit the like button if you like this content. Please subscribe and share this video. Stay with us. Stay with us at Peek Around the Corner. This needed to happen, this emergency episode 27 of Peek Around the Corner. Yormark, the commissioner of the Big 12, just hit an inside straight on the river. Until next time, from all of us at Peek Around the Corner to all of you, please, you all take care of each other. Thank you so very much.